I think it's glorified as something that's for white people. Let's put it. I put it to you like that.
Yeah,
Am I right?
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I do.
What?
Because I
They,
mean, when you see it on television and stuff like that, you always see like white
white
parents
people.
putting their kids through therapy or putting their children through counseling. So it becomes a thing where you think, in order to do that, you have to have some sort of psychotic issue, and then you
That's
therapy.
what goes
But
on
I
TV,
mean,
which isn't.
I feel like maybe my fear of therapy does come from the fact that I have to be vulnerable, which I don't like being.
Mhm.
I don't like vulnerability. I don't like to be vulnerable. So it's like I feel like the trauma that I've experienced in my life, I feel like I've handled it. I've you know I've processed it. Like I don't think I push it down inside me. I just feel like I've processed it myself. I don't hide it. I know what it is. I know how it affected me. But I'm like, okay, well, that was then, and it made me who I am now. So I can keep pushing using that knowledge, even though things may have been traumatic. I can use that information and that knowledge and everything I learned from that to keep pushing. So I personally feel like, well, okay, well, what do I need to see there? What do I need counseling for? What are they going to tell me that I'm not already doing for myself? But
Because
the biggest thing though is vulnerability, and I don't like to be vulnerable. I don't.
right, right, and you know what? I'm glad. Well, you know what? Honestly, you saying that is your first step into being vulnerable, and I want to commend you for that. Honestly, you actually saying that, because most people that don't want to be vulnerable don't even say it,
Hmm.
but you expressed and exemplified the courage to say it. Hey, I don't like to be vulnerable. That's the first step in becoming vulnerable. But because we have to understand this, one, you can't judge yourself, because once you this is when you judge yourself, you know what you do? You are comparing yourself to
Okay.
someone,
Right.
because if you don't you have to be comparing yourself to judge yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because there has to be normal for me to say what's abnormal. That makes
Right,
sense.
right. Yeah, yeah.
There has to be normal so I can say what's abnormal. You know what I mean? So there's a book I read. It's called the Power of Vulnerability. It's by Brene Brown. And for the viewers that feels the same way Portia feels, that they have a hard time being vulnerable, please look up Brene Brown on Amazon and look up her catalog. About she's a guilt and shame specialist. That's what this is, because we all are walking around with some form of guilt or shame. Every one of us.
Hmm.
But there's a distinct difference between guilt and shame. I want you to understand this, okay?
Okay.
You know what guilt is? Guilt is I did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what shame is? Shame is I am wrong.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say that one more time. I'm gonna say it another way so you can understand it. Guilt is I did something bad. Shame is damn, I'm bad. You know how much more powerful that shame is?
Mm-hmm.
That shame is gonna be devastating. If you really feel like your one decision in life makes you and breaks you and makes you that bad person, you know how you're gonna live? You know how judgmental you're gonna be on others?
Right.
You know how much of a mask you're gonna try to put up for society? You're
Right.
not gonna be living correctly.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's a good one.
Honestly.
That's a good one.
So this is Brene's Brown. This is her theory.
Right.
I just took from her theory. Brene Brown, Brene
With an
E
accent.
Brown,
Yeah.
accent. I mean, she's phenomenal, and I really feel like the vulnerability piece. That's the first step, because for those, I'm not saying you specifically, for those that have issues with vulnerability, I mean, it comes from childhood.
Hmm.
It comes from childhood. It comes from society or someone maybe in your family that made you feel like crying is weak, or saying I'm sorry, or saying I apologize is weak. I know people. that don't apologize. Okay, I know, and it's not a problem, because I know it's something that they can't handle. It's something that they have been told that, okay, it's not cool to do, or if you do this, they're gonna do this. If I don't care what your reaction is to my action, I'm free to be who I am. The only way I stop being vulnerable is if I care what you think and what you say. Makes sense?
Right. Yeah.
That's the only way. Because if I really don't, people say, I don't give a damn. No, yes you do. Because if you don't give a damn, why don't you just be your total wholehearted self? In the words of Brene Brown.
Yeah.
If you don't care about what you say, be your wholehearted self then. You can't, because you do care about what people say. So it actually kind of limits you from being your wholehearted self. And not being your wholehearted self, that actually stops you from a lot of success and progression in your life. It can stop you from a lot of love. It can stop you from meeting important and influential people in your life. So my point to say all of that, not being vulnerable can actually ruin your life. Because you know what? All of this out here is going to be missed because you can't be vulnerable. You're going to miss all of this because your lack of vulnerability is going to tell you that's not cool to do. Don't say that. Don't be that way in front of these people, and you're not going to do it when these are the people that you should be vulnerable with. This could be the person that changed your life, or you being vulnerable could actually change their lives. Make sense?
Yep.
Make sense?
It does.
And
it's a lot of process.
It's a definite process, and I just think we as Black people, like I said, we are the most traumatized in the world. We've been through the brunt of everything. We are on the lower end of the totem pole in everything. You know what I'm saying? And everything good, we're on the lower end of the totem pole, and everything bad, we're on the upper echelon of the totem pole. Whether it's poverty, you know what I mean, incarceration and poverty, we up there.
Right.
But like MM said, but when it comes to us having Black doctors or people with their PhDs, we're down here. Why? Why is that? Why? Because we're the most trauma. Because we feel like we have to put on some type of mask. We not white. We got to understand this. We never gonna be white. So why don't we make being Black cool?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Cool in an educated, mindful way. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that for real, it starts with therapy, man. Because like I said, if you got health insurance, ain't nothing coming out of pocket. If you don't, come on, it's payment plans. You will go out here and spend $30, $40 on some bullshit anyway. Why not spend $30 or $40 to sit and talk to somebody about your feelings? But if you feel like you don't have a problem, we all have problems. First, let's get that out the way, okay? Let's get that out the way.
I don't think it's an issue of whether you do or don't have problems. It's whether you feel like you can handle that problem on your own.
That was a good one. That's a good one. Because you know what? That's the cliche comment of the person that doesn't want therapy. I can handle this on my own. Really? Okay. Who says? Okay. Of course you're going to say that, but you wouldn't know how your problem is affecting others.
Right.
You don't know. Okay? So of course, not you specifically, but the person that has the problem, they don't know. You know what I mean? Let's say I chain smoke and all that, and it's a problem. I'm blowing it around my kids and all that. Okay, I don't catch cancer, but they do. My problem affected somebody around me because I felt like, you know what? I felt, I was going outside to smoke. Yeah, right. Come on, man. Our problems affect the people around us, whether we know it or not, whatever they are. That's why we need to find out what our problems are. Damn, you know what I mean? Like, damn, why do I have the propensity to do that when I'm in this type of situation? We all have them. When you get in a certain situation, you tend to use your scapegoat. What do I do? You know what I mean?
Right.
And some of these things aren't positive things. Some of these things are affecting the people around you, and they're affecting you. But they're repressed feelings that you have in your body, and you've it's like a person that's become accustomed to smoking crack. We know that crack is bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when they take that pull, woo, they feel good, don't they? But we know it's bad. Right. Same thing about the repressed feelings. You have become accustomed. I have become accustomed to dealing by myself because I'm strong enough to, right? To dealing with my feelings myself. You're right. No, I'm not. It's a lie. I'm not. I've just become accustomed to holding them inside and coping with them. When I can get help with them, because help is out there.
Q,
so,
you get on my nerves.
Why? It's true.
You know
what? It's a fact.
I guess that's the whole issue with therapy. It's like, these conversations get on my nerves. They don't really, but it's just like, I don't want to be talking about this. But you're right, and that's what makes it annoying. So, okay. So, I think I'm partially annoyed that I don't have a good enough reason to not go to therapy. Like, I think, like, that's the truth. That's the reality of it. Is like, I don't want to, but I don't have a good enough reason to justify me not wanting to.
Right.
So that
nowadays too, the traveling is not a problem either, because all therapists are remote now. So
okay, the fact that I'm traveling, it doesn't.
Right from your bed on your phone. Woo! How we're talking right now? You know what I mean?
Like, I don't know what it is. Like, telling somebody I don't know, like, the intimate parts about me, it's like, I don't want to really, like, there's only a few people on the planet I'm willing to share that with.
You know what? That's funny. You don't tell people you do know these things.
What?
You don't tell people.
I don't tell people that I do know these. No, that's not true. That's not true.
Not everything. No one tells. Not everything. Yeah,
everything that I think of.
We know what we say these things. Oh, I'm an open book. Yeah, I'm
not saying I'm an open book. I just
not you. There's some things, but that's what I'm saying. Everything you could think of. There is some things inside our souls that we have buried. You understand? That will come up in conversation. They won't come up with somebody that we know, because we're not gonna be having that form of conversation for it to come up.
Right.
With this person, this therapist, this is their duty to dig until you say, wow, I didn't know. Damn, I lost that. That's been there for 15 years. Look at that. And like I said, think about this.
But it sounds real messy though. Somebody digging. It's just gonna get messy. Just leave it.
That's why.
Leave it.
Check it. They aren't just digging for bad things. They're digging for you to find who that Portia really is, or who that LaQuoN Johnson really is. You know what I mean? Because the people that we're speaking to right now, this is who we have evolved into as adults. But we are putting on a lot of masks. Why? Because we're adults. Why? They tell us we can't act a certain way as being adults. Why? We've looked at TV and say, okay, that's can't do that. When you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, you don't have those. And that's what that therapist is digging for. Who is that Quan John at 6? When he had no inhibition, none. When skies was the limit, who's he? Let's find him. You understand?
Yeah.
And as a counselor myself, that's what I reach for. I tell my students, I've said this before, I want to know, what were your thoughts when you were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Because those thoughts are who you really are. You had no inhibition. You had no fear at that time. Now we are filled with fear because we're adults. And kind of rightfully so. We got to pay our rent. We got spouses. We got children now. We might have our little careers going on. We got a lot of it on our table.
Mm-hmm.
At 10 years old, you had none of that on your table. Therefore, you were who you were at 10. And it's our duty as adults. Please believe me. If you can tap into that little kid and bring him or her back into your life, man, you'll be much happier. And you'll probably be much more successful in life. Bring that person back into the picture, because we buried that person. Think about it. All of us, every adult, we buried that child. No. We gonna have to tap on that casket and blow some air in his lungs and make him appear again and see them. And because I'm speaking from experience, because when I started doing that, tapping into that little boy that was, things started working. I started confronting things that I once feared. I started saying things that I thought I would never say. I started trying things that I wanted to do back then, but I was afraid to try as an adult. I said, to hell with it. Because when you 5, little 3, 4, 5 years old, they running around wild, aren't they?
Yeah.
Know why? Because they saying to hell with it. We need to have some to hell with it moments in our adult lives. I'm serious. But only way you can get to it is if you dig and dig and dig. And you can't dig alone. You can, but you know how hard and strenuous that's going to take. You're going to give up. But you and your therapist can dig together. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you got any final thoughts, comments, concerns? So I'll be booking your next set for next week at 1:00. I'll bill you, but go ahead.
I feel like I have this knowledge now. I have this information, and the fact that I had to confront myself with a couple of things in just this podcast, I feel like it's good, but I feel like it's still gonna take me a minute to get okay with the idea. Like, I would have to work through 20 plus years of that stigma. I would have to undo that. And yeah, I'm just not ready to do that. But I understand why it's important. I'm just not ready to do that.
The fact that is even on your mind, like I said, that's the first step. It's like the alcoholic that knows he has a problem.
Right.
That's the biggest journey. Knowing I have a problem, then that's actually greater than me stop drinking. You know what I'm saying? Me knowing that I have a problem leads to, a successful, sober life.
I want to go into the comments though, because I was struggling with finding a reason why I shouldn't go to a therapist. So if you have the same stigma that I have, I want y'all to tell me why you don't want to go. Because it was hard to fight Q over here with that. It's hard to fight him with my no answer, my lack of an answer. So if y'all have one, I want to hear it. And if you guys go to therapy and you go regularly, just let us know what your experiences are. Comment below. Like, share, subscribe. We thank you guys.
Please hit that red button, baby.
Yes.
Come on, John. What's your mistake?
Bye.